Abu Garcia has three main products in their line of budget-friendly baitcast reels, those being the Max X, the Max XTX, and the Max Pro. Now, I've done a review on the other two, but I have not done one yet on the Max Pro, which happens to be the most expensive out of all three. So in today's video, let's cover whether or not I think this reel is worth the upgrade or not. Now, before I can go into the features and my overall thoughts on the reel, we are going to go over the specs on the one I have right here. Now, the one I have right here is the Max 4 Pro-L. So this is the left-handed model. The gear ratio is coming in at 7.1 to 1. The max drag is coming in at 15 pounds. This has 8 bearings. The weight is 7.4 ounces. The line capacity is going to be 120 yards of 12-pound test, and the MSRP is coming in at around $99.99. Now, the main three features that stuck out to me while doing some research on this reel were the machined double anodized aluminum spool, the MagTrax brake system, and the Duragear brass gearing. Now, as for looks, I really like this reel. I think it looks the best out of the X, STX, and Pro lineup. I think this is the best looking reel of those three. I really like the all white knobs on this with the white side plate and the inner portion of the reel, but then I like how much black with gold accent they have kind of spread throughout the reel too, especially like near the spool, you know, the line guide. Like there's some really cool parts of this reel. I think it looks really nice, and honestly, this would pair up really well with a lot of white rods on today's market. You know, if you were to go with like the, you know, your store brand stuff, right? So like I know the Johnny Morris Carbon Light at Bass Pro, the Shields Ebisu Z rods would look really nice with this. Let's see some other ones. Oh, the Abu Garcia Veritas. You know, there's quite a few white rods on the market that I think would look really sick with this. It would be an awesome paired up setup. So yeah, overall in looks, I think this reel looks really sweet. I like it. Now, obviously, as far as versatility and function, this reel is definitely a more bass specific reel, but I'm sure there's a couple other species, you know, you could probably catch with this. The one complaint I have on that is this reel only comes in one gear ratio, and that's that 7.1 to 1. I feel like there's a lot of other reels in that $100 mark that do come with multiple gear ratios, right? I mean, the Revo X, the SLX-A, you know, the Lose Speed Spool, right? A lot of those kind of in that 1 to 130 range. A lot of those reels have a bunch of extra sizes, so it would have been cool to see them do that. However, I understand that this reel is I feel like it's a little more geared towards being a combo with the rod, and a lot of combos don't have, you know, different gear ratios. So yeah, a little bummed on that, but overall it's not a big deal. At least the gear ratio they gave you is like your best all-around gear ratio you can get. Like a 7.1 to 1 is your jack of all trades, so I do like that. Now, as for the durability and quality on this guy, it feels really nice in your hands. It feels pretty sturdy. We do get a couple of these returned at the tackle shop I work at. However, we also probably sell more combos of this than any other combo, like any other baitcast combo in the entire store. So, you know, yes, we get a couple returned, but the amount that we actually sell, I believe, makes it a pretty low buy to return rate in general. I feel like we sell a lot of these, you know, and I feel like it's a pretty low percentage. So I think this reel's going to last for you pretty well. I know the other ones, you know, the Max X was the older model, was one of my first baitcast reels I ever had. I had that thing for forever, and I was really hard on it. So I don't think this reel's going to give out on you anytime soon. Now, as for ergonomics and feel, I personally am not a huge fan of the Abu Garcia shape of their reels. You know, I'm definitely more of a Shimano fan as far as how their reels are built, how they feel in my hand, right? I like their reels a lot more, but I will say this reel feels fine to hold in your hands, coming in at like 7.5 ounces, so it's not, you know, extremely heavy. I could easily fish this all day and have no problem. I just, you know, that's more of a preference thing. I know there's a lot of you that do like the feel of Abu Garcia products or Lose products or Iowa reels or, you know, certain brands, right? You guys, it's all preference. So it feels great to me. I could use this all day with no issue. I just prefer other brands. Now, as for casting, this reel feels a lot better to cast than the Max X and the Max STX. I believe it's because those extra ball bearings. I believe the STX, it's been a while since I did a review on that one. I believe that one's like 6 or 7 ball bearings, and then the Max X is like 5 or 6. So there's definitely a jump as you go up, and if I had to guess, that's probably why this casts smoother and a little better than those other models. So overall, it does a great job. I do think there's some reels in close to this price range that cast really well, probably better than this, but I feel like for that $100 mark, this reel would work great with that. Now for the price here, coming in at $100, this puts itself in a very competitive spot with a bunch of other reels, you know, some of those being the, the Shimano Caius, the Shimano SLX, the Daiwa Tatula CT, the Luz Speed Spool Gen 3, the Abu Garcia Revo X, right? You've got a lot of products in that kind of 90 to 130 range right in there to work with. And I do think this is a good reel for $100. I just think that you could spend a little more and get a reel that runs laps around this. One of those being the Shimano SLX A. If you wanted to go up a little bit higher, the SLX XT or the Abu Revo X, right? I think there's some really better options for a little bit more money. However, if you guys are wanting a Baitcast rod and reel combo under $150, this reel is more commonly seen in a combo. It's the Max Pro Baitcast combo, and it comes with a rod, and it's like $120 to $130. If you guys are looking to spend below $150 on a Baitcast combo, that is by far and away one of the best choices you can make on the market. Could potentially be the best choice in my opinion. For $120, that's an insanely awesome setup to have. Buying a combo with this, buying that Max Pro combo, and they do run sales on them all the time as well, oh my gosh, that's an absolute steal, and I would 100% recommend that. Now, considering the price of $100 here, I'm gonna go over some of the pros and cons of this reel here real quick. So as for pros, the looks, I think this reel looks sweet. It just, it's going to pair up really nice on a lot of different rods and reels. The build quality, I think this reel's built really well. I think it's going to last you for a while, judging by the amount of customers that come in and buy these and the few that return them. I think it's going to do really good for you. This also is better casting than your other Max reels. So your Max X and Max STX, I believe that this one is a lot better. It's a lot smoother, just overall better casting of a reel. And as for the cons here, I do think those lack of speeds, it would have been really nice to have, a slow, your 7-1 to 1, and then you have your really fast in there like an 8-2 or an 8-3 to 1. But overall, I understand why they didn't. This is more of a comboed reel. Now, as for rating, I'm giving this an 8 out of 10. I think it's a great little reel. I do think, like I said, I think it's much better being put in the combo versus buying separately. I was actually considering just reviewing the combo itself because I think that I would have had a little more praises for that than just the reel itself, but I would totally recommend getting that combo. That is an awesome price for the money. I just think if you got 100 to 120, you've got somewhere around there to spend on a reel. I just think there are some better options to go with. Not that this is a bad option. I still think this is one of the best options, but I just think there are a couple that are better in there. But overall, I think Abu did a pretty dang good job with this reel. Now, the reel right below this, the Abu Garcia Max STX, has a specific feature that is very unique to a lot of reels, and it's a feature that this reel doesn't have. So if you guys want to learn about that feature, I'll have that video right here. If you guys want to learn about the Shimano SLX, the reel that I also highly praise, I would put that review right here for you. So hopefully you guys learned something. Hopefully you got a kick out of today's episode. See you guys next time on Humbug Videos.